So we are using true metallics on this guy based on your guys' suggestion. Let me pull out a couple colors I know I'm going to use first. I'm going to do the stuff that's not metallic first, just to get it out of the way, so it's not getting glittered up from infiltration. So I'm going to pull some bold titanium white out. Let's pull out some ochre. Pull out some coal black. So, you know, I showcased this already, but like for the most part, these three paints you can do anything bone with and it'll look good. Let's pull out some red because I have a feeling I'm gonna mess around with some reds. Let's put a little transparent yellow down. This may come into play. Never a bad idea to throw a little brown out on the table. Looking for my mahogany. Some mahogany over here. And I may mess with some of the blue. I mean, some of the black, so therefore I may need blue for some edge highlighting. I'm looking for my sky blue. Okay, let's look on the floor before we get too invested in staring at my workspace. Okay, no, there's turquoise. Is that turquoise? Yeah, turquoise. Where the hell is my sky blue at? See, how does this keep happening to me? If it's smaller than my hand, I swear to God. That's a brand new bottle of sky blue. It's just in the ether. Somewhere. Like, fully found it. It's right in front of me. Okay. So I'm gonna grab a paper towel, maybe. Press this brush a little bit. I soaked up these brushes pretty good. So let's go and adjust the bone, because we laid down this bone effect, but kind of fast and loose, so it can be a little cleaner. Right now it just has some thick lines on it. It's not the most blended. I feel like it could be a little bit more blended. So I'm gonna put a little water on the palette. And let's get back to... So what you want to do is you want to just kind of envision a gray. And then you want to think about this ochre making it warm. Okay? A blacker version of it. Kind of a whiter version of it. So what I want to do is kind of split the difference and kind of heal some of the tide lines. So just using my eyes, get a little moisture in there. And what I do is I'm just going to kind of work that strip right there. And kind of just blur that thick white highlight that's just like crudely, you know, taking up half the real estate of those rib cages. So I'm just kind of focusing on where that white highlight or nearly white highlight meets the gray, and creating like a band-aid strip over the two and linking them together so it gets a little bit sharper. Because when I looked at it when I woke up, and I was like, oh, that could be better. So that's it. So what we do is we blurred it a little bit, and now we're going to be a little bit more respectful. Take a little bit more white. Again, we're just going to lower the opacity slightly, take some of the moisture off. And let's kind of now like re-establish that highlight, but in a more respectful value, where it's not nearly as white as it was before. It's just a little brighter than what we've laid down. So now we're going to be able to kind of walk into white a little bit safer. And it's kind of hard to access this, so you got to be able to jump back and forth. Like I already kind of messed this up. So I'm going to be using some stippling here. See, just to get in here, it's a little trickier. I'm going to get a little bit whiter. Corvidai in chat. What's up, brother? Went to Warpfire. Has rig parking. Bought a gamer grass painted base. It's painted better than what I have been doing so far. I need to stop being such a chicken shit and take your classes. Why do you say you're being a chicken shit? Here's almost white. And now I'm just being very respectful. Now I think I can actually double highlight these, meaning that there's a bit of a top shelf. So if I'm really careful, I can hit that top shelf. And of course, I'm using the heart pull strategy. See that? You want to use high opacity, low moisture Corvidai. There we go. See if we can sneak in and get the other one. Oh, I think this is my old one. So usually when I'm like transitioning one of my 18-0s into the graveyard, I keep using it for a while longer, but I'm switching to the newer one I've been using. That one's getting a little frayed. So I'm going to see if I can sneak in on this side. Now this side is the trickier side. So we're taking some high opacity, low moisture white. And I'm going to try to double highlight again. Tip of the brush. That's what I'm looking for. See if I can sneak in here. And get that kind of sidewall. Beautiful. I'm feeling good about that. Now, let's get a little of this ochre, brown, even some yellow, maybe a little red. What I'm doing is I'm making kind of like a ghetto orange. Right here. Lower the opacity. A little bit of moisture, and I'm going to just stipple the nuts right here. And so we're letting some, like a rustier color be the nut shade on his ribcage armor. And I just know from experience that like an orangier color looks really good over like an off-white. There's some nuts up here. And even kind of stippling some of that in right where it meets that icon in the middle might look nice. Beautiful. That's, this is going to be one of our major focal points on this model, so I'm definitely going to put a little bit of love into that chest. Andrew's Armory tuning in. What up, player? Corverdie says, I have all the excuses of why I can't do it. And know that you will work with me to help me succeed. Sounds odd, but I don't want a person I have never met in real life to be disappointed in me. I get it. I can answer that in one of two ways. I can say, Corvidae, it is impossible for you to disappoint me. I'm proud of you. Or I can say, you already are a disappointment to me, so what's the worst that can happen? Or can go the third route of saying, like, none of this matters to me. Like, how good you are painting is irrelevant to me. Like, I don't care. The only thing I perceive when I look at people's work is effort. That's it. So, like, effort trumps all. So if you deploy an effort, that's 90% of the battle. All my classes do is give you a new way of thinking, a new set of procedures and definitions to maximize your efficiency while deploying effort, and you will have results that will be shocking. Lowe's Magic, what's up, player? Andrew's Armory, my first tourney this weekend. Pretty stoked. Oh, yeah, dude, that's going to be hype. Go, boys, at Harsh. Go, boy, just kidding. You're a pretty good teacher. I'll do my best. Thank you. Now, on the face, I'm pretty happy with the face. It's pretty smooth. Think we can get away with that. Maybe we can smooth out that one white line. It's maybe a little harsh. So again, black and white making gray with a little bit of ochre in it. I'm going to use my eyes, Corvidae, and kind of just look at that white strip in there and kind of get close to it, but not whiter than it. Keeping the opacity low, maybe pluck some of the moisture off. What I'm going to do is try to blur this line a little bit and smooth it out, like a little comet trail using the heart pull. Give it a nice blurring, a little bit more subtle. It's crazy. I think I see a skull. I think there's actually a crack design in that skull. If you look really close. So I think I need to go in there and make that stand out a little bit more. Before I do that, let's just take some of this mix. Let's make sure we have very little moisture in the brush. And let's stipple some of these nuts that we pin washed. Tip of brush. Okay, so let's go back to that orange we made. Maybe brown it up just a little bit. And let's get inside that crack. See, there's like a jagged... Maybe it's not a crack. I mean, it looks jagged though. But it's very symmetrical, like it's a faceplate. Take that same mix, lower the opacity, add a little moisture. Let's use this to get around some of these joints with a little pin wash strategy. Help lift it. Kind of frame his skull. And like I said, I've just know from experience that like a orangey or brown just has a nice look. Over a creamier white like that. Let's rinse it down. Okay, let's go in here with this mix. Let's get a little bit more opacity, a little bit less moisture. And let's see if we can hit that faceplate. And stipple along that seam just on this side. See that? Help lift it off a little bit. Now this one's kind of tricky. There we go. I like that. Okay, since I'm up here messing around, let's grab some of this coal black. Let me get a little transparent black out here. I think I'm running kind of low on transparent black. I may have to go through my sponsorship container and steal one. I think I'm down to like the dregs. Transparent black. Touch of the old coal black. Let's make sure that this mohawk is a little darker. Just a little blacker in general. And now what I'll do is I'll take some black and transparent black and a touch of the blue. This is just some cyan or sky blue. A little bit of white. And I'm going to just carefully touch the tops of things right there. A little bit of highlight action in there. Mohawk. Be careful. May be able to lay a tracer down here. Let's see. Is able to ride that rail. See, I think I can ride the other rail as well. Now let's get a little bit more white in that mix. A little bit more blue. See if we could just finalize it. Put a little bit right here. Let's get the other side. Now we're barely trying to kiss it with a little heart pull. Now I'm gonna go back in time to our darker mix and kind of smooth that line out because it got a little gangster. Let's go back up to the bright mix. Let's just touch right here again. Now, he's got a hose in there, so, you know, the hose being black would be awesome, but I just don't think that's right. So let's take some black and red. Maybe a little blue. Just steal some of this blue. Black, red, blue. And just using the tip of our brush, more of a stippling stroke, painting by numbers. Try not to get it on stuff. Real nice, deep purple red. Let's pick up some more red. Gotta just take the same blend and just redify it. Rinse it down. We'll let that set up for a second. While that's drying, let's grab some of this straight up mahogany. A little black mahogany mix. And there is he's got some leather straps right here. We'll paint those for, in a real dark mahogany mix. He's got some poking through on this side as well. Now this skull, remember we had to add this on at the last second. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna paint the like kind of ropes holding it on first. And then we're going to go back. Remember this kind of gray mix we made right here earlier? It's black, white plus ochre. And we'll just kind of cut in around those ropes we just painted real fast. Take some white while it's still a little wet. And then we'll just kind of wet blend some high opacity white right into the center mass of this region of the skull. Let that set up for a minute. Now, let's go adjust these skulls on the side of the bike. They're still a little dark. So it's the same workup. Let's just get a little bit more white in there. With our grays, and what I'll do is I'll just kind of blend against that border I just created using the darker version and a little bit of moisture. Same thing. Just using that capillary abuse. Some of these skulls I did earlier, just I didn't get them wet enough. This one's kind of easy. I'm just kind of edge highlighting some of its features and throwing in a little bit of center mass right there. Pretty much moving up to pure white. Right here. Take a little of our shade color or mid-tone while it's still wet. Right there. This one's kind of perfect. That one kind of came out perfect. Okay. We're just tweaking things, guys. We're just making sure images are getting sharp. Let's go back to the bright red. This time, just going to kind of stipple in some red on the tops of the pipes. All right, let's take a little white. And I want to introduce the yellow trick into this. So a quick heart pull right here. Rotate. High opacity, low moisture. Let's go back and redify that pink a little bit. Just kind of smooth that out. Again, we're going to go a little bit redder. Lower opacity. right there. Gonna take that same mix. Hit some of these other red features. Did not do a good job on these. These suck. Let's take some straight red. And let's just kind of actually paint these good. Those are bad. Okay, let's go back, take some transparent yellow. Thin it down with a little water. Let's run it back here. And yellowify that nice explosive highlight. I'm gonna use a little bit of red here. Kind of clean that up. Yeah, I did not do a great job. I'm gonna go back in time. I did not get like all the real estate. It's like a whole... No, these ones are okay. That one was terrible. Some of that yellow. Okay, we've got these bolters in here. I should definitely try to edge highlight these. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in time to this darker puddle of red we made. And I'm going to just try to kind of pin wash around some stuff in here. Semi-opaque and a little wet. Using a little bit of a heart pull technique. There are some nuts and bolts on these things. I just want to make sure there's a little bit more volume in that bolter casing. Waldo's in the chat. What up, player? I guess I'm loving the chat from my man Waldo's. Eat the Cheese says, that's one pretty bike. Thanks, man. We get a little more light here. Trying to make him look good. It's a complex kit. It's fun. Let's take a little white plus red, guys. Make that pink. Now what we need to do is just drag a couple lines here with high opacity, low moisture. Using the tip of our brush, pulling straight back to our heart. Okay, let's rotate. We should be able to deploy a bit of a tracer technique where we scrape the edge here. Rotate the model. Try that again on this other plane. High opacity, low moisture. Okay. Let's move it down right here. Probably gonna have to just heart pull this, tip of the brush, pull straight down. Tip of the brush, straight down. Let's go on the inside track here. Tip of the brush, go straight down. There's like a lower shelf. I don't know if it's worth hitting. And I'm not getting any on the barrels, but that's just unnecessary. It's fine to get it on the barrels because we haven't even painted them yet. I don't even think I put red here on the inside on this one. Look. Just kind of using the red and just kind of actually painting this inside track. Eat the cheese. Thank you for the follow, homie. Appreciate that. And Gladiator, thank you. Now that we've laid those bolter cases down, let's run back over here. That was red plus white. Now we're just going to grab some yellow. Let me rinse the brush. Some transparent yellow right here. Add a little water. Okay, and now we're just going to kind of re-edge highlight it real fast. And so that white infused red is going to take on this yellow. Give us that fiery highlight. Tight. And we're just bouncing around slowly detailing this guy up. Okay. Right now, everything is pretty much just blocked in. Only a few things have gotten some extra love on it. Speaking of which, let's paint the eyes white for now. High opacity, low moisture, tip of the brush. Looking for that heart pull technique. Maybe a stipple. Paint the eyes just pure white for now. And then we'll do something with them later. Things that still need to get addressed are these purity seals. So we have like kind of a purple feeling on those, right? Just some blue and some red right here. Maybe a little white. A little desaturated because there's some black in this mix. But we want these purity seals not to be like ultra saturated, but definitely not very red. The Blood Angel purity seals are usually more purple. So we're just kind of bouncing around, just highlighting the perimeter with stipples, high opacity, low moisture. We'll probably use a light wash technique on the actual purity seals. Maybe. Let me rinse the brush. Turn the light down so you can really see what's going on here. So here's some straight up white. And I'm going to use this white to kind of block in the frame of these purity seals because they're not totally white yet. And I'm just kind of using it to highlight the edges and the ripples. We use more of like an ivory work up there. There you go. Yeah, that looks good. And we did like a really, like almost like a wet dry brush right over them. And now we're just chiseling out their edges to be a little bit sharper and more in focus. Using the heart pull strategy right now with high opacity, low moisture. And we're breaking some of our own rules. It's okay in this purity seal department. Like I can just do a cross, a horizontal line from this position just fine in this scenario. There you go. So many purity stills. Love it. Frozen Hobbit just gifted a sub to Gladiator. Gladiator, show your boy Frozen Hobbit some love right there. And Love Minis, can you give Frozen Hobbit 100 yo DZs? Deathwalker, could you just use Bright Ivory versus White and the red mix to pink and not need to use Trans Yellow? That's a totally acceptable highlight scheme, dude. You don't even need to use Trans Yellow. I use it because I'm going for like a... Let me put it this way. There's no reason on earth that something that is actually red would be highlighted yellow. Unless there is like a strong yellow light source in the room. There's no reason. That doesn't need to be there. What's really going to happen is it's going to be a little bit pinker. The problem is people don't like pink. And they're like, it's supposed to be red, you know? So yellow is why I can say confidently yellow and orange have become popular red edge highlighting for 20 years because of that. But it's not actually reality. So I'm going for like that 90s style. And the way, if you want your yellow highlights to pop, you got to pre-highlight them. You got to do what I'm doing by throwing some white in the mix and then throwing the yellow back over it. You're guaranteeing the yellow is actually a highlight and brighter, and it's going to just resaturate the white element of the yellow into or the white element of the red into the yellow, but the red element of the white into an orange. So you're going to get that fire. But it's totally fine to use like an ivory or anything. Like you don't need this. As a matter of fact, you can just use a darker red and use straight bright red, like VOL power red to edge highlight. Flying monkeys, sunlight is yellow. Yeah, sunlight is yellow. So if you're like standing under the noonday sun and you have like hyper reflective red, you may see some yellow highlights. But also the problem is a lot of paints that you paint with for artists, this red is not actually red. This red has like an imbalance of yellow in it. So it's actually orangier than red. Than actual red. And actual red is a 50-50 split of magenta and yellow. So you don't realize this, but like a lot of things that you own that are printed red are actually perfect red. They're 50% magenta, 50% yellow. And then this is a little orangier. So if we were so this right here like naturally likes to have more yellow in it to get brighter. And then you see you put a little white in it and you see you end up, what you're gonna end up with is like a flesh tone. Okay? And this is an old school trick right here. Remember like Dwarven Flesh back in the day? So like a hack used to be that you can use like Elven Flesh and Dwarven Flesh to highlight red, and you can kind of see how just by adding yellow and white to red that I actually have kind of created the spectrum of Dwarven Flesh to Elven Flesh here. You see that? And it's almost like, that's almost like a pale yellow, or I mean, you see that? And then if you start getting cute, you know, and you throw like a little blue in over here, right? A little brown in. You can actually start kind of purpling up this base coat, and then you can actually start getting like really complex skin tones. You see? So like you start to realize that like, you know, there's basically like a dark flesh, a dwarven flesh, like a pallid flesh, an elven flesh, kind of all in this mess. And so I never use bottled flesh tones, because all they are is like just pre-mixed versions of this that end up with, and that's why so many people come to me in my classes and they're like, help me with flesh. My flesh looks monochromatic. It's because you used a bottled version of just this, and then you washed it, and you have contrast, but it doesn't look real to you. So if you just kind of understand like this is like this spectrum, you can just make your flesh look better, pretty simple, you know? And so when I'm doing this, when I'm doing red and then adding white, right? That's this without the yellow, right? Then later we just glaze the yellow over it, and the yellow actually stays more yellow like that because it's a glaze. It's not blended in. And that's where my fiery highlights come from. But it's almost the same math, you know? Just a different procedure. Depthwalker, the big ball in the sky is yellow. It is. But here's another thing, too, is like, are we just walking around yellow? When you're outside, does everything look yellow to you? It doesn't. So, like, that's a thing to consider is, like, for a light source to actually make things yellow, it's a pretty extreme light source. You know what I mean? Miami Mark in the chat. What's up, bro? All right, let's get a few more of these loose ends locked in. Okay, guys? We've got some prayer beads right here. You know, let's take some of this transparent black. And let's just sneak it in here like as a wash into these rubber ligaments here. Just to black them up a little bit. So I got fucked up right here. I feel like I got a little of the bone on his armor right here. So I'm just going to slice in some transparent black right here. Got a little red right here. I'm going to see if I can just get lucky and filter it down with a little transparent black right here. And basically, I'm going to just move around with this transparent black and make sure, because remember, we modulated our black, and the problem is with that is that you end up with a lot more gray real estate than you may have intended. So I'll just take the transparent black, kind of pin wash things. And this is why modulating the black actually takes more time. Things that look a little off to me, you know, I just go in and kind of black them up. His knuckles right here are bothering me. I want to get in between his fingers. This side right here. Looks like I already did a good job on this side. Okay, let's run back to this skull. So again, we just had some black and some white, aka gray. And then we had some yellow ochre. Saturated. Using some high opacity right now. I'll go with some moisture. Semi-opaque. Wet. Kind of blur that line just a little bit. On the actual leather straps, let's take some of that brown that we used. Some ochre. Maybe some white. I think we actually had black in there initially. just gonna carefully kind of hit a little highlight on these ropes. Right there. Just Detail City, guys. He's got a leather strap right here, so, and I think that was just straight up mahogany. Yep. So we're going to take this new highlight we made. Just rotate down like this. Do a quick tracer technique. Using the flat of our brush. Hold your breath, swing it from right to left. Like that. Maybe pop out a little bit more white in that mix. Get a nice little highlight going right there. Kind of got a little bit beyond the border here. And I'll just smooth that out, make it like I intended to do, this little shine right here. Little random detail, and so we're just going to kind of, as we see them, we're going to mess with them, and then we're going to switch to metallics. That's right, the beads. Oh, and the guns. So we got to go back to metallics for the gun. I'm going to deploy a little bit of wash technique. We got to figure out these hash marks. So the beads, what color? So gold down here for sure. Black on the beads, I think, is a mistake. Mini Ruckus, what's up? I don't fucking know. I'm gonna take some white. And I'm just gonna kind of highlight them with white for now, so I can kind of figure it out later. So I'm just dragging some white on the tops of these things. Jade or green. Jade or green. I'll try some light jade. Or bright jade. Since I painted them white, what I can do is just kind of lower the opacity of this jade. Some water. And we should be able to just kind of almost wash it. And the white will just take on the jade. Paint that little doodad down there with metallics. We should probably paint I think these are problematic right here. Hold on, let me get back to something that makes sense for these little leather strappies right here. Some highlights right there. Yeah, we're going to have to pull the metallics back out here in a minute. Now, this thing, I've played with it a few times. Don't quite know where I'm going with it. So you know what? Let's just make it official. Let's stop being lazy. Where's my... You know what would be a great color for that thing? It's actually just straight up burgundy, which is one of my favorite new colors for Monument Hobbies. Let me just rinse my brush off. Burgundy. Let's actually just make... Let's go burgundy and mahogany mixed together. For a kind of a officially... This is the color of this. I kind of had like a placeholder color there. Using pretty reasonable opacity here. Uh-oh. What am I doing with my life? They're fucking like... This guy, I swear to God, I did not do a good job building this game. There's like a little... I still see it. It's like a tiny nub. The sprue right here. That I didn't see on the inside of his arm. On that weapon. There we go. It's funny, GW's pretty good at hiding them now, so that's why I don't see half of them. So I have it under a microscope. So that's just brown and mahogany, or brown, yeah, or burgundy and mahogany. Disflux, what up, man? And we're gonna just make, like I said, this is the official color of these wraps now. And I'll even use it as the official color of this bookmark. Remember, it's my brush. The Chappie sticker book. On point. Let's go to burgundy with no mahogany. And we're just going to kind of kiss. The top of these diamonds. Instead of like a dry brush or anything. It should be pretty respectful. Now we'll add a little white, which should make it a little bit more purpley pink. So just top shelf of the diamond pattern, high opacity, low moisture. Like a sewing machine stipple action. And we're just respecting the workup. It's the burgundy mahogany mix, and then we added a little white after we went to pure burgundy. So we're just pulling out those details slowly. Same thing right here again. And we're using the tracer on this. Monument Slow Food should let me name the colors. Go boy, you should. Okay, more white. A touch of burgundy. Okay, we're gonna try to be real careful now. Sewing machine stipple action, engage, sewing machine mode. There you go. Let's do a real skinny one here. And a little one right here. All right, we're gonna run into a whip here in a second, but this guy's got white eyes right now, and he needs a smoldering gaze. So transparent red is the official color of smoldering gaze. So we want to take the transparent red, which is actually red, because as you thin it down, you see the magenta in it. So this is actually red. And we're going to lower its opacity. And we're going to put it in those eye sockets. Kind of just ring around his eye like eyeliner. You know, like a little puddle of this. Rinse the brush. Let's take some white. Maybe a touch of transparent red into this white. We're going to try to keep the opacity high and the moisture low. We're going to try to touch the eye again. Nope. Tip of brush, stipple. I think it's still just a little too wet. I think I got it the way I want. There we go. So you see, now he's got that smoldering fucking red eye demon face. And I said we're going to pull out true metallics now. Now I've done a lot of the color stuff. I want to bounce around a little bit. So for the quote-unquote golds, it's bronze, right? Bronze is basically metallic brown. And here's some bright gold. This is just like metallic ochre. And so I'm going to get that 2-piece set up right there. And I'm going to pull out some dark silver. This is what we're using. And I got a few things I still got to paint dark silver. And my 2-piece on dark silver is actually just using the metallic medium from Monument Hobbies, which is essentially metallic white. Oh, JBZ, thank you, man. Can I get some strong man love for my boy JBZ? This is a little something for you, man. I appreciate you, dog. JBZ. Let's start off by taking some dark silver, pretty high opacity, low moisture, almost no moisture added actually. And let's just carefully paint these barrels. And I'm using a stippling technique, a little bit of a heart pull. And even though my paint's getting kind of built up, I'm just spreading it out. I've got time. I want a nice high opacity one and done coverage here, right over that little doodad right there. See that? Rotate the model, use the tip of my brush, just lightly pull straight back to my heart and get a nice dark silver. And we've done a lot of projects recently with non-metallic effects, non-metallic metal or whatever, NMM. Basically an effect where you make things look shiny without using shiny paint. And when you use true metallics, you're using shiny paint. So you want to make sure that your metallics are, reasonably opaque so that the glitter medium is reflecting light. And you don't want to overdo them with washes and stuff, because that'll start filtering down and obfuscating the glitter. So at that point, why not just paint it, gray with white highlights at that point, And so just using the very tip of my brush to just carefully drag in and pull out some heart pulls, combination heart pull and stipple right there. So I'm going to reach in deep here where it's safer. You'll see here, so see that this barrel right here, it kind of creeps into the red. So I'm going to just kind of get in where it's kind of tricky and then just pull back out where it's not tricky. Right? I'm going to rotate, make sure we've got it here. Here, some stipples. There's like a little brace at the bottom. I'm just going to touch it. Dark silver. Always rotating the model to keep my lines just straight back to my body. And then you typically won't have any problems if you just remember the heart pull. Now let's move over to some of this bronze. Same thing, we're doing a heart pull strategy where we're trying not to get it on the brown or the reddish brown. Little stipple there. Again, we're using high opacity, low moisture. We don't want to get it on things we're painting by numbers. Get a little moisture in the mix now for spread. See, I didn't get good coverage here. It's kind of lackadaisical with my coverage. It looks like it just kind of one and done it with a big brush and missed some areas. So I'm just making sure that things that are clearly not painted are painted now. All right. So I think for the most part now we have our metal stuff metal. Oh wait, no, there's something back here I wanted to do. I wanted to do this part of the sissy bar. Because I painted it dark silver and then this like kind of latch here or whatever this is. Just bonus contrast since we are committed. Got a lack of coverage right here on this end cap. And this one too, let's just stipple in. So make sure not to forget this thing. High opacity, low moisture. Sewing machine stipples, get that key. I wonder if that key is like the key to somebody's heart. Oh, there's like a ring on this bolter. Might as well bonus contrast there. There. Oh, I forgot to edge highlight that leather. So I'm pretty sure that's just mahogany. It may be mahogany and black. So if it's mahogany and black, then straight mahogany will be a nice subtle highlight. We'll find out. So that's a big fat wet edge highlight there, and we'll see if it's brighter. And regardless, I'll take a little bit of ochre into that mix. We're gonna keep the opacity high and the moisture low and just drag a quick tracer technique there. Rotate, hold your breath, swing it from right to left, trace, rotate. Anything that has a hard edge on it, you just can deploy the tracer technique. Right there. And I might go one step higher, a little bit more ochre in the mix. Just a little bit more. Like so. Frozen Hobbit says a blood angel with a key to someone's heart. Was that a Twilight reference? I mean, not on purpose. There's like a doodad right here. Let's paint that. Just inspecting. Oh wait, there's something on his crotch. God damn it. He's got like a. I mean, it's almost like he's got it. It's almost like it's a dick. I'll show you. Papa Penguin DT in the chat. My dude. Can I get some strong man love for Papa Penguin? He is a OG viewer who has renamed his account and he's been streaming. He's been around for, I want to say, the whole time. Is it a new account, Papa Penguin, or did you rename your account? Do you guys see that he's got like this clearly dick-shaped icon right there? He's also got a belt buckle. God damn, this guy. Oh my god. Oh, let's grab some mahogany in black. We preemptively put some ochre in there. Same old account. 51 month subscriber account. Good. I would be sad if you didn't have that credit. So there's a belt in here. He's got a straight up belt. And I'm just touching it with stippling to make it sort of brown. There's like a little lanyard here. And I'm trying to reach in. See, this is where not sub-assembling makes it tricky. I don't know if we can even get in there. So there is his belt here on the inside track. We're just using stippling techniques, Papa Penguin. Whoop, just put my finger in red paint. Don't fuck it up. Love Minis. Thank you so much. Can I get some strong woman love in the chat for Love Minis? I'm blowing it out with lighting, guys, so you can see what's going on in those shadows. There's a belt. His belt kind of hangs down right here. Now, let's see if we can Love Minis and Papa Penguin TV. He says he wouldn't lose it for the world, man. Hell yeah, dude. Appreciate you saying that. Okay, let's see if we can with the lighting all blown out. So you can see what I'm looking at. Let's see if we can put a little edge highlight on top of this belt using the tip of our brush and a little tracer technique. Maybe I might steal a little white and push the issue. Because I don't necessarily want to do this multiple times. Right there, you see that? Rotate. Right there. There we go. Got that belt buckle. Okay. And we're supposed to be working on metallics. So back to metallics. He's got that cross dangling from his crotch. Love Minis. She gets it. Puma says, which model have you painted where there was so much small details you wanted to yell? I mean, I don't mind it. If it's GW style details, they're easy. If it's boutique miniatures that are over detailed, those are usually kind of hard to paint. So I think anything from 3D Art Guy, which he makes some of the sickest models. 3D Art Guy? Like, who's the one who makes the lion that I painted? Guys, is that 3D Art Guy? Now, bronze is metallic brown, and this is bright gold, so it's a metallic yellow. So we're going to mix them together slightly. And we're going to use this in a high opacity blend with low moisture and some stippling here. To highlight the top of that thing. See that? Down here, the same deal. Heart pull, tip of brush, pull back to your heart right there. And we're trying to just give it a nice shine. See, and we're not just going straight to that bright gold. We split the difference at first. So this is like kind of our preliminary highlighting. High opacity, low moisture. Tip of the brush. Bring a little bit of intrigue, you see? A little bit of excessive shining. Now we've got more girth here. So we can work that tab right there. Let's rotate in here. So in many ways, you can view this as like a second coat. But our second coat has some volume added because we've introduced a brighter valued metallic. So our points are getting shinier and more yellow. Okay? Frozen Hobby was 3D art guy. Yeah, 3D art guy, those prints sometimes frustrate me, even though they're so ballin'. Now I'm gonna skip ahead and go even brighter. More metallic, more of the bright yellow or the bright gold. Here. High opacity, low moisture. Let's move over here. Since I'm on this side, hold on. Right there on that little dealie. Just popping these edges out. A little bit shinier. Oh, we only got 4 minutes left. Holy shit. I'm behind them. Sorry, guys. Yo, two things. First, Papa Penguin TV, thank you for the support. Double Yo Dogs, my man, the virtual tuber. Can I get some strong man love in chat right there for that legend? 51 months of legendary support. And shout out to, I want to say, Netoid. Thank you for the follow. We're just introducing some highlights. Papa Penguin knows. This is our bronze with a little bit, I'd say a little bit, healthy amount of bright gold mixed in. So this is giving us an opportunity to double down on opacity while also punching up the brightness factor in certain areas. So we're not repainting it, we're adding to it. You see it's right here. This is our bronze. This is our bright yellow gold. Bright gold. Right there, we got about 2.5 minutes left. Shout out to Papa Penguin. Papa Penguin, here we go. Tip of the brush. Beautiful. Gladiator says, thanks for the amazing hospitality. Thanks for kicking it with us. Only got about 2 minutes left, guys. There's no overtime on the clock for today. Double Yo Dogs, Final Four. God, I put out more metallic paint. I might have to go just a little bit of extra innings. So I put all this paint down on my palette that without realizing how little time I had left. Now, a minute left. So even here, what I want to do is under highlight these doodads. A nice, soft, wide stroke. And here's a little bit more gold in the mix. Catch this edge. About 40 seconds left. Almost out of time. Final 20 or so. Same deal on this side.
You gotta get swifty in
there it is.
here. It's time to get swifty. Uh-oh.
Thank you guys so much.
Oh yeah.
Let's do a few more paint strokes,
Take
guys,
off your pants and your panties. Shit on the
before
floor.
we get out of here today. Thank you for kicking it with me and chilling. Thank you for the financial support. Just as we build these colors up, you see how we get a little bit more intrigue built into the model. And we've got to do all this up here still. But what I'll do is I'll give you a little taste. So if I take the yellow, the bright gold, and just kind of raw dog it, I'll be able to push this out even further. And if I wanted to take some of the metallic mixing medium, which is just basically white, we can go even further and kind of crisp up some lines here. And basically just give ourselves like a nice little two-stage edge highlight down here on the trim. We got a little bit of highlight in the bottom and the top of that little strip. And you can go through and just kind of, you know, touch lines essentially by adding a little bit of that mixing medium to it, which makes it essentially metallic white. There is a white gold though, so you don't have to do this, but I don't need the white gold. I made white gold. You see, we're gonna punch it up a little bit here. And just bounce around, and how bad was that? I just dropped it in my wet palette. I picked it up so fast that all I did was put this and the brown. Woo, got lucky, guys. Got lucky. Almost a critical disaster. And we're fixed. Like, gotta remember to move the wet palette out of the way so we don't just hover our model over all this shit. Like, alright guys, starting over. Since I'm fucking with this weapon, here's our bronze. Just kind of hit it again with the bronze. And then we can just take the gold, kind of just blend it in. While it's still kind of wet. And even some of the medium. And we can kind of just get a quick blend established there. So it's a little brighter at the top, a little darker at the bottom. There we go. Ninja hands, baby. My hands don't move that fast unless something bad is happening. Neo tied. He's like, oh my god. Sam Al says, what's the name of this unit? This is a Primaris Chaplain on bike. This is the name of the data. This is the name of the data sheet. And ours is Blood Angels. We actually used Pop Goes the Monkey, one of our sponsors. 3D printed shoulder pad curved icons. So he has a Blood Angel icon right there. That we have, you know, we haven't even fully painted it yet. What we've done is what we focused on here is black edge highlights, blocking in true metallics, running some highlights, kind of order of operations, and you know it's pretty much done if you want to call it here. But we're gonna force it to be even sharper and more crispy. We're gonna make this thing up here, this Crozius, look sharper. Probably deploy a couple of washes. One of the things we did that was much different than the box art is painting his chest like ribs instead of just black. And we didn't use the Chaplain. The Chaplain comes with 2 faces, and that's easily one of the coolest bear heads in the line. I love that head, but I kind of always knew it was going to be the skull helmet, you know, instead, because I always kind of knew I was going to do those ribs. And I did end up finding a place because that head is one of the best heads I've seen in GW. So I replaced the silly Sanguinary Priest head. It's just so dumb. I replaced it with the Chaplain, and see, he's got smoldering gaze as well. And you see there's a kind of a difference between the way I did these blacks and those blacks. This one is like neon. It's like jet black. And so this is why I tell people I advocate for not even wasting time modulating your blacks with your airbrush. I made sure that black was as black as it gets. And then I did some aggressive edge highlighting, utilizing some black with white, then a little blue. And to me, that black is superior in every way. With the second you start modulating your black, you have to start dealing with the fact that it's going to have a gray feeling. So this is a different way. And so my Sanguinary Priest is very Chaplain-like in appearance because I don't like the white armor either. The white armor is a loss of contrast. So my dude is more like, I view Sanguinary Priest more like a mortician or a coroner than like a nurse, you know, battlefield nurse. And you can see like that this, the second you modulate your black, it's not as black as this. So for tabletop experience, like I like the pop of this more. But sometimes I like to show people how to do it a different way. You know, so because he's a Chaplain and not like Black Templar, I feel like you can get away with it. But if you were trying to paint your whole Black Templar army like this, I feel like it's just not black enough to feel canonically, you know, Black Templar.